Can Tanjiro Kamado survive a full 24 hours in the Last of Us universe? This is something I've wanted to talk about for some time now, and with the Infinity Castle movie trending online, I figured it was the perfect time to discuss the topic. Demons from Demon Slayer and the infected from The Last of Us have more in common than it might seem at first glance, especially with the newer demons in the first stages of the infection. Both groups are examples of the human turned into a flesh-eating monster trope. I'll start by discussing what the infected from The Last of Us are and what they can do. Then I'll move on to Tanjiro's strengths and abilities, and finally figure out if he can actually survive a day amongst these monsters. The cordyceps fungal infection is transmitted either directly through a bite from an infected individual or indirectly by inhaling airborne fungal spores released by a decaying corpse. These spores can infect someone rapidly, causing labored breathing and sluggish movement within minutes, especially in areas dense with spores. Once inside the body, the fungus targets the brain, growing mycelium through brain tissue and killing off brain cells. This process erases the host's memories and drives them insane, reprogramming their instincts to pursue a single goal, spreading the infection to others. Depending on where the person was bitten, the infection can turn them into a runner in as little as 5 minutes, or it might take up to 2 days. Once reduced to primitive, animalistic behavior by the infection, the host becomes violent, seeking out and attempting to attack or consume any humans nearby. This brings us to the first form of infected, the runner. Runners are people who have only recently been infected with cordyceps. They are defined by their high-speed, unrefined attack patterns and their tendency to attack in groups. Runners commonly show significant hair loss, skin discoloration, open lesions, and bloodshot eyes. One new element introduced in HBO's adaptation is a kind of hive mind behavior. As depicted in the series, if one infected or a fungal colony is triggered, other runners in the area are alerted and rush to the disturbance in massive numbers. Next up, we have stalkers. Stalkers are individuals who have been infected for a period ranging from 2 weeks to a full year. True to their name, stalkers tend to hide and ambush prey, often waiting in the shadows for the perfect moment to strike. Some of these infected attach themselves to surfaces and let the cordyceps fungus fester, keeping the host barely alive until an unsuspecting victim walks by. Then the stalker breaks free and attacks. Visibly, stalkers often show large fungal growths around their eyes and shoulders. Their skin begins to peel off, and in some cases the nose falls away as the fungus starts breaking through the skull. Even worse than that is the clicker. Clickers represent a stage reached after being infected for at least 1 year. By this time, the skull has split apart, with the fungus having grown so extensively that it covers the brain and either obliterates or engulfs the host's eyes, leaving only a grotesque mouth full of jagged, rotting teeth. These growths render clickers blind, forcing them to rely on basic echolocation to track down prey. Despite the blindness, the fungal mutation grants them enhanced physical strength, making them much stronger than the average human, and especially dangerous in close combat. Clickers often display uncontrollable twitching, and some even scratch at the fungal plates on their face, hinting that a piece of the original human might still be conscious and resisting the infection, despite the advanced state of decay. Because they can no longer see, clickers emit clicking and croaking noises, which survivors can listen for to avoid detection, provided they move quietly. Bloaters are humans who have been infected for over 2 years. By this point, the fungal infection causes them to be completely blind, extremely slow but also incredibly strong and very tough. Their body becomes covered in thick fungal armor that protects them from most attacks. They have the ability to rip pieces of fungus off themselves and hurl them like spore bombs at enemies. While this makes them dangerous, the excess fungal matter also leaves them more susceptible to fire. The infection becomes so severe that it forms hardened plates over the body and causes the host to bloat grotesquely, hence the name bloater. Shamblers are a further evolution beyond bloaters and are typically found in moist or water-heavy environments. Though not as physically powerful as clickers or bloaters, shamblers can grapple their prey and emit dense spore clouds from their body. These spores cause acidic burns on the skin of anyone nearby. When killed, a shambler's body releases a final explosion of spores, which spreads the infection to anyone in close proximity. And the most powerful one of them all, the Rat King. The Rat King is a one-of-a-kind form of infected that appeared in a Seattle hospital after more than 20 years of infection. This abomination is created from multiple infected individuals fused into a single body. It is enormous in size and strength, capable of withstanding intense damage from fire, explosives, and firearms. Even after suffering heavy damage, the Rat King does not die immediately. Instead, its individual infected components begin to detach from the main body and continue attacking on their own, making it both unpredictable and terrifying. In relation to this matchup, most infected in general can easily break through concrete walls and slam through vehicles, sometimes even forming pathways in abandoned cities through which they pass. For speed, they should be comparable to Ellie, who can react to bullets and dodge arrows. If you're enjoying the video so far, then subscribe to see similar content like this one. As the last known wielder of the strongest breathing technique, sun breathing, Tanjiro Kamado is undoubtedly one of the most powerful demon slayers in history. And it is due to this fact that he's capable of doing things that shouldn't be humanly possible. Muzan, a demon who was able to survive an explosion that blasted with city block levels of energy, gets his limbs torn to shreds by Kamado when he's going all out. This means he would have at least city block level attack potency. For speed in the final fight, he was doing objectively better than everyone else on the battlefield. This includes Mitsuri, who can react to lightning to a massively hypersonic extent. This same Mitsuri couldn't even see Muzan's attacks because they were too fast for her, while he was just objectively performing at that level. Thus, his speed should be considered massively hypersonic to massively hypersonic plus. For hacks and abilities, not only can Kamado manifest the Demon Slayer mark, which further increases his strength and speed, but he also has the see-through world, a form of X-ray vision that lets him target the vital organs of an individual directly and predict their next attacks by watching muscle movements, plus an almost infallible ability to sniff out enemies from wherever they might be hiding. If he were to come into an altercation with any infected individual during his stay in the Last of Us universe, if he reacts with caution, he should be able to survive and defeat any one of them pretty easily. His speed, attack potency, and skill vastly surpass any non-infected human on the planet. However, the reason I specify if he reacts with caution is because if he enters the situation with zero knowledge of the infected, he might get infected himself. Unlike demons in Demon Slayer who have to share their blood to transform a human, the infected can do that just by getting the person to breathe in their infectious spores. And breathing is what Demon Slayers are all about. And we know that breathing techniques don't provide much resistance to disease. If he does know about the mode of transmission of the infection, then his speed should be more than enough to swiftly slice them up and get out of the area as fast as possible. Thus, he's probably surviving the whole day intact more times than not. If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe for more content like this one, and suggest what other topics I should discuss in the comments below.